Osu is turning 16 this year, and it has a lot of history. So here is 16 obscure facts about Osu. One fact from each year. This video is a bit different from my documentary style videos, so I hope you enjoy it. But before we start, I want to thank BM7, Ruthra, Koxiu, Shigemura, and Kurboh for helping me out with some of these facts. If there are some mistakes you've spotted, feel free to comment in the comments section down below. Without further ado, let's start with 2007. If you go to the former number 1 player Valset's profile, you can see in his occupation it states, possessor of 5 invisible ranks. For a good while, nobody knew what that meant aside from the players back in 2007. Well, one day, this guy just hopped into my Discord server and dropped a huge lore bomb about these 5 invisible ranks. It turns out that on December 12, 2007, Valset set 5 scores, 4 on Aishiteru and 1 on Sekai wa sore wo ai to yobundaze. These scores were set a few minutes apart, and they all have one thing in common. They have no rankings, or at least, they're invisible. According to Ruthra, there are 19 invisible ranks, and Valset has 5 of them, which probably means that this was a bug affecting the ranking system on that day, as other people actually have invisible ranks. This is a list of all the 19 invisible ranks found on that day, but in reality, there were probably way more. The glitch was patched a bit after this, and only 19 survived today, as the others, I'm just gonna assume they were deleted. Thank you Ruthra for giving us this info and supplying us with the full 19 invisible ranks. Moving on to 2008. While this fact is not really limited to the year 2008, it is one fact that not a lot of people really knew about, so I'm gonna say it here. While going through the development changelog in 2008, I saw this line about skins being added, so I asked Peppy about it. And he said that there used to be a separate program called Osumi. Osumi was used to update the game, and there used to be an extras tab filled with optional skins you could download. Looking at old forum posts, it seemed like Osumi was the main updater until it was deprecated sometime before 2014 in favor of the newer and more stable updater that we have today. Thanks to both Kurboh and Peppy with helping me with this entry. In 2009, the state of Bancho was apparently pretty bad, with Bancho getting updated many times over the month since it was released in 2008, with at least one update happening per month since there would be some new bug affecting Bancho. Some of the problems included memory leaks, problems with multiplayer, friend requests not being processed correctly, and more. At some point, some players were complaining about them randomly being kicked out of multi-lobbies, and of course, score submission. In February 2009, Peppy declared Bancho's stability issues resolved after random restarts and interrupted matches every day for like a couple weeks. But Bancho's problems persisted. In late July 2009, there were some problems with Bancho once again that caused a bunch of unscheduled downtime, which caused Peppy to work on Bancho once again, and after a long weekend of debugging, Bancho was declared stable once again on August 3rd, 2009, only for it to break again a few days later. Finally though, in October 2009, Bancho was finally and permanently stable, and ever since then, Bancho has been working just like it was intended to, with only a few hiccups along the way and the occasional maintenance every 3 months. On April 8th, 2010, a user named Kokoban would post a piece of fan art to the forums. This piece of fan art was a concept for a future game named Osu Stream. Peppy saw this and was inspired to make Osu Stream a reality. So when Peppy would eventually start making the iOS port of Osu, he decided to contact Kokoban and commission them to make the visual elements of the game Osu Stream. Osu Stream is still playable today, and it was released on Android some time ago, but it is now unsupported in favor of the mobile port of Osu Laser, which is currently in test flight mode. In the original Tatakae Ouendan game, it utilized the Nintendo DS's second screen to show dancers dancing to the beat. It was hilarious, as when you miss, they would just collapse, like they just fall over. It's actually hilarious. But have you ever wondered what the 3D dancers would look like in Osu today? One guy named Loginer wanted to know, so he started modeling some of his Osu mascots. In July 2011, he finally finished his 3D model of PP, and this is what it looks like. And while he actually started the project in 2009, the PP model from 2011 was the only one that is still available today. He made models of the other two mascots, but they have been lost to time, unfortunately. In 2012, Peppy and the OS team were getting ready to release its fourth game mode, and that game mode was Osmania. On October 8, 2012, Mania was officially released with help from Walk 2006, and many players started rushing in to try the brand new game mode. At the time of its release, Mania didn't even have a stable ranking system, with some complaining that it was rushed as barely anything was polished. Some people didn't even update. For the players who decided not to update or didn't update their game yet, if you went to the multiplayer lobbies, Osmania lobbies would show up, but instead of being called Osmania, it would just show up as 3. Yep, just 3. Needless to say, Mania was incredibly bugged on release. Scores were even reset multiple times over the course of 2012. And while Mania PP has had problems for a long time even till now, Mania players can rest easy knowing that at least it wasn't as bad as 2012 Mania. Farming used to be extremely different back in 2013, as PPV1 worked very differently. One player who got an S rank on an insane map could get less PP than a person who SS'd a hard map. There was one prominent person who decided to use this to their advantage. The South Korean player named Beatrice was in the top 3 in 2013 at the height of PPV1, but he got to the top 3 by farming hidden double time number 1s on 30-star hard maps from back then. This worked extremely well until January 27th, 2014, when PPV2 was implemented and he fell to the 3-digit range, as suddenly his method of gaining ranks had become somewhat obsolete. Today, Beatrice still has 26 number 1 scores that remain unsniped, and Beatrice has pretty much been forgotten by the general public, even though Beatrice was one of the players that Firebat92 was actually inspired by, as Firebat started farming hidden double time hard maps, just like Beatrice before PPV2 was implemented. And I think that's pretty neat to think about. The Osu website has been an integral part of the Osu experience, as it has been here since the beginning of Osu 16 years ago. And it's extremely important for Osu players, as without it we can't even download beatmaps, ask for help, or even download the game. Needless to say, it is an important aspect of the Osu experience. It has gone through a lot of changes over the years, with a major change after Osu Next was implemented, and of course quality of life improvements that just makes our general experience just way better. This means there has been a lot of stuff removed. In fact, there used to be a fan art section, and you could submit your art into that fan art section via the fan art thread. And there used to be an old Osu market, which is like the Osu store, but there used to be a lot more than just Osu socks or lanyards or even supporter. Back in 2014, the old Osu market used to feature Osu coffee mugs, Osu shirts and hoodies, and these goodies sold for $13, $25, and $55 respectively in 2014 money, which is around $70 today for the hoodie. So yes guys, there was one point in time where you could get a set of Osu shirts for you to look cool outdoors while sipping on your Osu coffee mug, then realizing it is chilly out there. then putting on your Osu hoodie. Truly one of the moments of all time. If you go back even further, you can find that the Osu market used to sell an Osu clock, an Osu teddy bear, an Osu journal, and other goodies I wish I would have. Sadly, these features met an end in 2014, with the old Osu market being replaced with the Osu store, and the fan art section being removed sometime between late 2013 and early 2014. If you wish to check out the old Osu fan art thread, however, you still can, and people still post there, which is really neat. Osu has always been a game that is not mainstream, especially in 2015, which makes it even more shocking that in 2015, Taiwanese player Rucker was actually featured in a Taiwanese TV program featuring Osu and Osu gameplay. That's right, on July 21st, 2015, Rucker appeared on Taiwanese TV, where he played maps like Black or White and Gigantic OTN. While we don't really know what the show is for or why he was interviewed, the full livestream is still up on YouTube and I'll provide the link in the description down below. Thanks BM7 for bringing this to my attention, and if anyone could tell me what the stream was about, that would be great. In 2016, a GMT member's account was compromised. This GMT member had the ability to change other players' user pages. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you know where this is going. Multiple top players' user pages were altered. This included people like Rafis, Smoothie World, Koxiu, Spare, and even Peppy himself. This led to those players thinking that they were hacked. As a temporary response, Peppy decided to disable user pages altogether. Osu staff was pretty quick with their response, with them figuring out the issue pretty quickly. Peppy clarified that everyone's details were safe, and within an hour, user pages were back to normal, like nothing ever happened. This was a huge incident at the time, with many people being confused over the changed user pages, which contained links to files of unknown origin. Today, pretty much nobody really knew about this incident, as it was lost to time. But I think it deserves a mention, as this was one of Osu's serious incidents regarding security. We all remember Freedom Diver and his 3-mod FC on High Tide, which was the first 900 PP play. But did you know he actually set the PP record 4 times in one day? Okay, maybe that's a bit misleading, but he really did. It's not pointed out that much, but the reason Freedom Diver had a shit ton of spectators in the first place was when he set 849 PP on High Tide with 1 slider break and 83% accuracy. Without that slider break, it would have been 950 PP. Which would have beaten the PP record at the time, which was Kokisi's 817 PP score on remote control by 133 PP. This play was also the one that spawned in this copy pasta by Fiery Rage, which is a neat little fact. This play can still be found on YouTube, and it's even on screen right now. After about 15 minutes, Freedom Diver would overwrite this play with an 893 PP play on the same map. This time around, it was an FC, but it had worse accuracy. This score didn't even last 15 minutes, by the way, as he overrode it with a 1-miss choke worth 865 PP, which is probably the only instance where a PP record was succeeded by a smaller amount without a rework happening in between it. This also makes 893 PP the shortest lived PP record, as it lasted about 10 minutes. And that is even if you count it as a PP record in the first place. 865 lasted a bit longer than the rest, and an hour later, Freedom Diver ended the High Tide PP record saga with a 900 PP play, which is infamous today as the first 900 PP play, depending on who you ask, and it is the reason why touchscreen is nerfed. In January 2018, one man set out on a mission to achieve true masochism. On January 11th, 2018, a guy went onto Reddit and said that he will embark on a journey that would last 2 years. He was inspired by Ikkun, a person who got 8,000 PP without a single 400 PP score in Osu Taiko. The man decided to try out for an even more impressive feat of 10,000 PP without a 500 PP score in Osu Taiko. His name was Mango Miser, a top Taiko player from the UK. Today, he is a part of the global moderation team and a member of the PP committee for Osu Taiko. But 5 years ago, he was Osu Taiko's #1 masochist. Being so dedicated to reach a goal in one of the hardest ways possible, he started the challenge with around 9,200 PP. And for a good period of time, his top play was 499 PP, teetering on the edge of 500. As the way PP is calculated, 499.5 would be rounded off to 500. Mango Miser would continue to set plays that didn't break the 500 PP threshold until August 13th, 2018, when he finally reached 10,000 PP without getting a single 500 PP play. But even when he reached his goal, he decided not to stop. There was apparently a hard cap set for this challenge at 10,400 PP, so he decided to set his goal to 10,400, which he finally reached on January 15th, 2020. There were a bunch of close calls, with him getting 499.495 PP, which rounded off to 500 at one point, but he was able to overwrite that score into a 488 PP score. He was able to edge out 500 PP for the challenge so well that he was able to set 75 499 PP plays throughout the challenge, truly earning him the title of Osu Taiko's #1 masochist. Not only that, but one of the most legendary Osu Taiko players of all time. In the olden days of Osu, there was a player known as Clementine. This guy peaked at the top 15 in his heyday of 2012 and 2013, even winning the 3rd iteration of the Osu World Cup along with Beatrice, Cookie Z, Dungeon, and more. There had been a bunch of suspicion casted upon Clementine in 2013, but it came to a head when he was banned in early 2013 when he blatantly cheated a bunch of scores. Now let me just warn you guys ahead of time that the information that I will relay here can be wrong, as I have not fully looked into Clementine as of writing this script. So bear with me a bit here. After getting banned, he created his own account, a new account, a multi-account named Bodhisema on January 2013. It is unknown if he created this account or borrowed or maybe got it from a friend. This account was named Neko-chan-kun, then eventually Mocha. During this time, in which I mean 2015, Clementine would stream on Twitch with the handle Monedo, in which he would play offline. All the while, the Neko-chan-kun user would set an Airman SS. This SS of course raised suspicion, aside from the fact that Mocha was gaining a lot of ranks. By the way, Mocha and Neko-chan-kun is the same person. This was during the time of Biko, so people were just assuming that he was an offline player. There was also the rumor that it was actually Clementine. Everything would finally get revealed when Mocha was finally restricted on March 25th, 2019. Some players were surprised that it was actually Clementine, or Monedo, all this time, like Kablaze, he was surprised. While players like AryN already knew, because according to this one guy on Reddit, Clementine literally streamed himself playing on Mocha's account. But for the general population at the time, it was a surprising twist that an old Osu player who was at the top of his game years before was still setting scores under a different name.
In 2020, the world was in the midst of a pandemic, the VTuber pandemic. But one game VTubers, specifically HoloLive VTubers, tend to ignore is Osu. This is because of how, number 1, Osu is hard for beginners, and number 2, you can't multi-account. so a VTuber's personal information can be unintentionally revealed, which is a big no-no. Which is all the more surprising when Amelia Watson played the game on September 28th, 2020. When it was announced that she would be playing, it caused a small kerfuffle within the walls of r/osu game, with user Vikram saying this, quote, cue the entire osu community saying that they think VTubers are cringe and actively driving away new osu players, end quote. Which started a small comment chain in which someone decided to call out some of the community's hypocrisy. You know, classic Reddit comment chain behavior. There were also some people in the comments talking shit about the fact that Amelia Watson is a VTuber. Needless to say, these guys were downvoted. Amelia Watson ended up playing Osu Mania in a members only stream with an account named Wame-chan. The problem is that the account was a multi-account. So on October 1st, it was restricted, but it was quickly unrestricted. A month later, someone asked about Osu and VTubers' identities and whether they would be allowed to hide their identities. Pippi responded to this thread saying that he doesn't believe in the special treatment for individuals, and he does his best to treat everyone on the same playing field, which may explain why not much VTubers tend to play Osu in the first place. Thank you Shigemura for pointing this out. Shot Kaz, thanks for having me.
On February 3rd, 2021, Moist Critical would play Osu for the first time, exposing the game to a large audience of 12,000 viewers on Twitch. But did you know that within a few weeks, his band, The Gentleman, became a featured artist in Osu? That's right, on February 24th, 2021, it was announced that The Gentleman became featured artists with 6 songs available to map, with Skynut, Real to Me, Obsession, 2019 Guy, 2004 Breakup, and I Am Truth being featured. And they can be mapped. So far, only 2019 Guy and 2004 Breakup have been ranked, so the other 4 can be mapped today. Even after he became a featured artist though, Charlie has been a figure that has helped out the Osu community a lot, with him running the Drench program tournament on June 12th and 13th, with Vaxei taking the crown and $4,500 in that tournament. They also ran Charlie's Perfect Math class, but we'll get to that. Since then, he has been a huge figure in the Osu community, and while he isn't around a lot, he still helps us with stuff, such as r/plays 2022, and let's hope that he will continue to do stuff with the community even more. "2022 was a very big year for Osu, and I just wanted to take this time to highlight those important events and recap so that we could see how huge this community really became during that time. In January and February, the players Arnold 24x24 and Utami had insane pop-offs that propelled them to the top 10 and 15 respectively. Malashevsky finally reached number 1 Poland, beating Rafis, who held that position for a really long time. Someone programmed their motherboard to play DJ Taka's Quaver, a very known song here in Osu and other rhythm games. The US became the first country to reach 3 million active users. Stephen Clark's Everything Will Freeze video became one of the few Osu videos to reach 1 million views, excluding YouTube and TikTok shorts. Griffin became the first person to reach 6,000 number 1 scores in Osu Standard. Lotus Pro's keypads were outed as one of the biggest scams that Osu has seen. Emrek has one of the most insane days in Osu history, as he set multiple plays like a Blue Dragon 1.5k PP choke and a Kimi no Boken DTFC. In March, after so long without setting any new top plays, Chocomint finally set a new top play on Freedom Dive Endless Dimensions worth 973 PP. So yes, he beat Freedom Dive with Freedom Dive. The map Union was copyright striked. Emrek reached 22,000 PP with a score on Ray. Apollo made a website to track the death of Osu, also known as the day till Osu runs out of score IDs. It never did, by the way. The issue was averted, and we're alive today! Yay! Lifeline passed Atrina, becoming number 2 globally. Hades set 1,642 SS's in a span of 24 hours. r/place came back, and with it, Osu was once again thrusted into the spotlight, defending against multiple streamers like XQC and Mizkif, with BTMC even roasting XQC, which was one of the most hype moments in recent memory. r/Osu game reached 300,000 members. An instance of someone calling streams worms happened, and it reached over 4,900 upvotes before being removed by Reddit spam filters. Vaxe was now out of the top 10 after multiple years. There was this one guy who decided to test everyone with a microflow rework, which turned out to be a huge troll. A new map named Zane was ranked, which broke the PP system in the span of a day, with Utami bringing it into the spotlight with a 1,156 PP play, and Emrek further pushing it into said spotlight when he set the PP record of 1,241 PP on it, which led to Zane reaching 100,000 plays in a span of 24 hours. Two of the biggest tournaments happened in the same week: Charlie's Perfect Math Class and the Roundtable, with Utami being crowned the first victor of the Roundtable, beating Emrek in a close matchup of 7-6, the peak of his Osu career, and Malashevsky winning CPMC, receiving $4,500. Yes, My Darkness passed Jakad's, gaining the most PP across all 4 game modes after reaching 23,000 PP. Kavo's Osu event was held once again after it being gone due to the pandemic. Kalan Lu set one of the most broken PP records in the game after setting 1,253 on Because Maybe Part 3 with easy halftime and flashlight. The Osu PP committee pushed a rework fixing Sane and nerfing Because Maybe Part 3. A new keyboard was found called the Wooding, with a feature called Rapid Trigger, bringing in a new era of speed with players like Scytho, Nineric, Flaro, Windowlife, and more, reaching heights never seen before. The 1300 PP barrier was broken with Save Me when Emrek got his Wooding. Then it was broken again when Atrina got his Wooding. Emrek reached 23,000 PP as well and set a new PP record of Marianne, which remains unbeaten today. He also got one of the biggest pop-offs and set a bunch of scores that were noteworthy, making him one of the best players of all time. A lot more happened in 2022, but I was just informed by Microsoft Word that this script has reached 4,000 words, so I'll just end it here. Let's move on to the final year. On July 27th, 2023, a bunch of new medals were unveiled. One of them was called Internment. Internment was special as it had a reward, and that reward was a title named Medal Hunter. So for a month after it was released, the Osu Medal Hunter Discord server was in a frenzy trying to figure out how to solve the medal. While they were trying to figure out the solution, one guy named Muzel joined the server randomly and sent this image about the Pac-Man theory. Even until now, I still don't understand the theory fully. Apparently, the name Internment refers to the box the ghosts stay in before each one leaves. The line stained in the hues of madness they rage refers to the individual colors of the ghosts and how they correspond to the colors of the rankings in the Osu website. The next line, within a 4-walled jail, refers to the board of Pac-Man. And in the line, bask in the shade of an ailing mind, bask refers to a basket and ailing mind refers to a ghost scared animation after Pac-Man eats a big dog. Yeah, I don't even know where this is going. There's also a line on the right of the image detailing Billy Mitchell was the first person to claim a perfect score in Pac-Man. It just doesn't make sense. What's more is that there was also an Undertale theory, but I'm not willing to explain that one. A few days later, after the massive schizo Pac-Man theory was released, Uberfaz ended up winning the medal. He got the medal and he got the bounty of $59.54 and the Medal Hunter profile title. On August 28, 2023, the official Osu Twitter account acknowledged the efforts of the Osu Medal Hunters Discord server and even referenced the infamous Pac-Man theory. Uberfaz gave away some of the winnings in a giveaway, and the man who started the Undertale and Pac-Man theory, Muzel, ended up winning one of them. Thank you, koxiu, for helping out with this fact. And that's all. After so long trying to write this 15-page script, it's finally done. This video is a challenge to make, and as of now, it has a higher word count than my PP record video, which is 35 minutes long. Thanks to AryN for providing the voice of 2020's fact. Go check out his channel. By the way, I recently did a collab with him, and it's a pretty good video, honestly. Just watch it, just watch it. Thank you Kurboh, BM7, Shigemura, Ruthra, and koxiu for helping me find the facts in the Discord server. Links to their socials down below. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment, like, and subscribe. Maybe hit that bell for documentary updates. And of course, happy 16th anniversary to Osu. See you next time.